Hello, everybody. Welcome to your favorite show each and every week. We're talking about Rasslin and Racing, brought to you by Greenville Sports Media, Arden's Burger and Grill in Central South Carolina, and Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. And folks, I have just been, I tell you what, it's been crazy at Greenville Sports Media, but I tell you right now, we're going to get into some Rasslin and Racing, and you can't do that without the man with the plan. Let's bring him in. Let's talk to Ref Brandon. How's it going, Brandon?
Fantastic, Jay. How you doing?
Doing great, doing great. How was your weekend?
Good. I got to watch some college football Saturday and some college football and some NASCAR and some wrestling on Sunday. So pretty good weekend.
Can't beat that, can't beat that. And folks, of course, this segment is brought to you by Pepsi Cola. Nothing's better than ice cold Pepsi whenever you're watching wrestling or racing or even some college football. Make sure you get an ice cold Pepsi or an ice cold cheer wine. There you go. All right, Ref Brandon, tell us what we need to know about some NASCAR yesterday. Or Sunday, I'm sorry.
Sunday night we had the Cookout Southern 500 from Darlington. And I'd have to go back and look, but I'm almost positive Chase Briscoe won this race last year as well. So I think it's his second straight year winning this race. So, of course, he's automatically into the next round of the playoffs. But Tyler Reddick came home second, followed by Eric Jones, John Hunter Nemechek, A.J. Allmendinger, Bubba Wallace, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, Carson Hocevar, and the top 10 was rounded out by Chris Buescher. Now, watch my man Kyle Busch miss the playoffs and then win a race between now and November. But Chase Briscoe goes to the next round, and right now the bottom four are Alex Bowman, Josh Berry, Austin Dillon, and Joey Logano. But Logano's only 3 points behind Shane Van Gisbergen. But I believe this weekend is a road course race, so we might see old Van Gisbergen win this weekend.
Yep, I'd love to see Joey Logano get out of it. That's just me.
And I think he will because, he's won 3 championships, but for whatever reason, they've all 3 came in an even number year. I don't know what it is about the odd number of years, but he just don't run as good in the odd years. So I do think Logano will get eliminated.
All right, folks. Well, there's your NASCAR report. And, of course, each and every week we give you what's going on in NASCAR. So if you haven't looked it up, we can get it all right here. All right, Ref, we go to professional wrestling. And I'll tell you what, we had the Clash in Paris. And then we also had Monday Night Raw. And Let's just go through it. Tell me, what was your thoughts on the PLE in Paris?
Honestly, really, truly, there was nothing that I really thought was great, but nothing that I really thought was bad, all except for the very end, because I'm just not into the whole Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch being together. But it was okay. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I wouldn't say it was great. I thought the first match was fantastic. Now, the aftermath of the first match was bad because they've pretty much made Paul Heyman useless, especially now with adding Becky Lynch to the fold. But just the one-on-one match between Roman and Bronson was good to see. Not a lot of interference, so let's let them guys go out there and wrestle.
Yeah. And, of course, they took Roman Reigns out in that first match. Even though Roman won, got his Shula Fala back, was throwing his shoes out into the crowd, and then my man Braun come in there and Braun Breaker just completely speared him through the off the table into the tables, and then they just put a hurting on him, and he was stretchered out. Jey Uso was hurting the aftermath also because he came out to try to save Roman. Ended up getting tsunami'd also. And that match ended up in a complete mess there at the end. Of course, Paul Heyman also got choked out by Roman. who, after he won the match, was making sure he got some revenge on Paul. Then we go and we have the Becky Lynch and Nikki Bella match, which I really wasn't interested in. I'm sorry, this match I gave it a B minus, C plus. I didn't really. I'm not a big Nikki Bella fan. Never have been. Never will be. I know a lot of guys think she's hot, but she's just not a. I mean, she got a little bit better in the ring, but to me, that match just did not scream a good match.
Yeah, I don't think she's that hot anyway. But me personally, I've never liked Nikki or Brie. I think they're completely useless. But a lot of people are mad about Nikki Bella returning, saying she's taking the spots of other ladies that could return, and I agree with that, but they don't want to return. It ain't Nikki's fault that the other girls that left don't want to come back, but she does want to come back. So I can't, get mad at Nikki for wanting to come back. Obviously, there's other ladies that could come back that are way better wrestlers than she is, but they don't want to come back. So that's not Nikki's fault. So I'm not going to, be mad at Nikki for that. But just overall, I've never liked Nikki's look. I've never liked her mic work. I don't think she's that good of a wrestler. She don't appeal to me at all. I mean, the match was okay because Becky was in it, and Becky's never going to have a bad match. But you can't expect a whole lot when you have Nikki Bella in the ring with you.
It just seemed like a Divas match, not a women's world title. Was that, or IC title? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. It's kind of like, since Becky has the belt now, they want to keep her on TV, but they just really can't find much else for her to do right now. I was hoping they'd put her in a feud with Bayley, but I guess that's not going to happen. I think
I know she has said she would return, but Shayna Baszler would be a perfect one at this point to put against.
I think they are convinced that AJ Lee's going to come back, and they're scared to put Becky in a feud, because then if they do that and then AJ comes back, then all of a sudden Becky's feud has to end. But what if AJ doesn't come back? Well, then what do you do? But then putting Seth and Becky together tells me they think AJ is going to return. And if she does, you're going to see CM Punk and AJ against Seth and Becky.
Yeah, kind of like we had Cena and Nikki versus The Miz and his Maurice. So I don't know. I'm just not a fan of that. Then we also had a match that I really think was actually pretty decent, but I didn't like the way they started it, and that was AJ Styles versus Dominic Mysterio. This crowd was going nuts for Styles.
Yeah, it's amazing how popular he is. He's always been popular. I think it's more so now because you don't see him a whole lot.
Yeah.
So I think now when he comes back, the crowd is just excited to see him because you don't see him all the time now.
Yeah, and I like the way that of course, John Cena the night gave his blessing basically by using Styles Clash on. Man, I just went blank on the guy he faced at the PLE. But anyway, Cena did the Styles Clash in honor of AJ. Are you
talking about Logan Paul?
Yeah, Logan Paul. My bad. I had it on the tip of my tongue, and I couldn't.
I didn't cut you off.
Oh no! Feel free to. When I'm struggling, man, help me. Hey, I'm not too proud to beg. But anyway, I think that this particular match was really great. I think Dominic Mysterio has really got a great future ahead of him. I think he beats was it Vikingo? Is that how they say his name?
I think they say
Vikingo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he beats him at the next PLE, becomes AAA champion, and somehow AJ gets the. I thought AJ was getting the title because I just think Mysterio's fixing to get that AAA heavyweight title, and I think the way they get one of the belts off is to get it on AJ, because AJ's retiring next year. If people don't already know that, he's already kind of made it clear he's not. He did not say next year, but what I'm hearing from my sources, he is retiring next year. So I think
he's going to go to mid 2027 only because he turns 50 in June of that year, and I think he'll go to 50 and hang it up.
Yeah. And then we got Cena versus Logan Paul. That match was very entertaining. I saw a lot more wrestling out of John Cena than I've ever seen in this particular match. And it's funny that it had to take Logan Paul to get it to happen. Now, of course, Cena's match with Styles back in the day when Styles first came was the best wrestling Cena's ever done. But this match reminded me of Cena and AJ Styles.
Yeah, I've been saying since Logan Paul debuted that, for whatever reason, people have chosen to hate Logan Paul for whatever reason. So for that reason, they won't give the man no respect. But if you just put the hate for Logan Paul behind and watch the man wrestle, the man can flat out wrestle. There's no doubt about that. The man can wrestle. But, people have always said that a lot of these WWE guys could wrestle, but Vince always held them back by making them kind of robotic and more like entertainers. Mm-hmm. And when you watch John Cena wrestle, it kind of makes you believe that because, Cena was around for years and just flat out could not wrestle. I mean, he'd do 2-3 moves and that was all you saw. But now that he's returned, he's actually wrestling this year.
Yeah.
And he looks good. He looks good wrestling. Where was this at 15 years ago?
Like I said, it hadn't been around since Styles. AJ Styles made him wrestle, and he hasn't done it since. So
yeah.
So anyway, then we have our main event match of the four-way. Of course, we see that Seth Rollins comes out on his own. This match went everywhere, and at first they wasn't going to help each other. Everybody just took each other out, and then about 10 to 15 minutes in, the three of them finally decided that taking Seth Rollins was what they needed to do. But just when they was going to put Rollins through a table, Jey Uso super kicks CM Punk, and then gets into a big thing with And next thing you know, they're out into the crowd, and they can get back into the ring, and the match was going pretty well, and then all of a sudden, CM Punk goes to put Seth Rollins to sleep, and then someone comes up behind him, gives him the low blow. Seth Rollins gets the pin, and it's Becky Lynch. What was your thoughts?
Well, I think I've already said it, but I wasn't impressed with it at all because I'm not a big fan of the whole Seth and Becky thing because I think they're trying to bring AJ back, and I never was a big fan of AJ when she was there the first time. But also, I've seen too many feuds where they have intergender matches, and it's just not for me. But also, if they do this, AJ doesn't come back. Well, then what are they going to do? Because now you've got Seth and Becky together for no reason because CM Punk has no girl with him because he's just by himself. But also I don't like it because, and I've told you this many times on our podcast that they put Seth in this little group with Bronson and Braun, and Braun and Bronson could be stars of the future, but they're kind of just henchmen for Seth Rollins. So I don't think you're helping Bronson. You're not helping Braun, and you've pretty much made Paul Heyman useless. So I still don't understand the whole purpose of this faction. It still makes zero sense to me.
All right, well, then we go to Monday Night Raw, and we started off with L.A. Knight and Jey Uso in the ring. L.A. Knight blaming Uso, says he was the reason why they didn't win the title, and the Seth Rollins got away with what he got away with. And then, like you said, out comes Braun, out comes Breaker, and they say Paul Heyman's not there to hold him back. Let's have a tag match tonight, and the title, not the titles, but it's going to be a 2-on-2 tag match, and we find out Paul Heyman's in the hospital, will not be out. Then we have Rhea Ripley standing in the back, and the Kabuki Warriors come back there, give her a little bit of hard time about our girl Io Sky, and Rhea basically says, "Asuka, you got a problem with me? Let's go at it." And Asuka says, "You're not ready for Asuka," and basically we're looking towards a storyline between Asuka and Rhea Ripley there. What's your thoughts on that?
I do want to first go back and mention one match that we didn't mention from Sunday, only because I don't understand the purpose of it, and that was the Rusev match. Now, I'm glad Rusev won, but, since they brought him back, they've done nothing with him. So I'm not really sure what they, brought him back for in the first place. I was glad to see him win, but to me, it was just a added match that they just threw in there for no reason. I just wish they would do something with Rusev, but Rhea Ripley better watch out, because everybody that Asuka's feuded with the last 3 years has wound up pregnant. You think about it, every feud she had to feud with Becky got pregnant. She feuded with Alexa Bliss got pregnant. She feuded with Naomi's pregnant. So now, within 6 months, Rhea's going to be pregnant.
Oh, my goodness. And as far as that match with Rusev and Sheamus, it was even said online, Sheamus saved that pay-per-view because he took a beating and a half in that match from Rusev. I mean, that was one heck of a match, to be honest with you.
And I've always liked Rusev, but when he first debuted years ago, when he wrestled, barefooted and all that, and he had that big undefeated streak, and then he wrestled Cena at WrestleMania and lost his first match, and it just seemed like ever since then, even AEW, he's just been stuck in neutral. And it's like nobody knows what to do with him, and I don't know why, because the man's got the look. He's got everything. The man can wrestle, but nobody does anything with him, and I don't know why.
A great feud that would be great with him? I would like to say Rusev versus Gunther.
Yeah, that'd be a phenomenal feud.
Yeah, because between the two of them, the strength, the attitudes from being foreigner, I think those two would give us a great pay-per-view match, to be honest with you.
It seems like Rusev's always been held back by Lana because Lana's useless. But every time they split them up, they're split up 2 or 3 months, and then they're back together. And I think she holds him back because she's good at nothing. But for some reason, they just won't split them apart. And when they do, they don't use Rusev.
Well, Rusev, Lana's not even in WWE, so.
I know. And now he's been on TV, 5 times since he came back. I don't know what it means. Why bring him back when you're not going to use the guy? I don't understand it.
Yeah. All right, folks, and then Raw gets a little crazy. CM Punk comes out because he's been waiting for Seth Rollins. They find out Seth Rollins snuck in somehow. He calls out Rollins, and of course, Becky Lynch comes out instead of Rollins, and basically tells Punk, you have to go through me. You're the reason why, my matches were, all I heard was CM Punk during my matches, and blah, 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 blah. CM Punk's like, well, I'm the best in the world. You'll hear it for more years. And then Seth Rollins comes out, basically provokes Punk. Punk looks like he's fixing to come out, but Becky, like you said, jumps in front of him and keeps him from going around. When he finally gets around, Rollins has already walked away. And Becky Lynch berates CM Punk as he leaves, as the fans are cheering for AJ Lee, something that you also mentioned.
Yeah, I know where they're going with it, but it doesn't impress me or move my needle at all.
Yeah. And then we get to our main event. I tell you what, there was a match, folks, between the Viking Raiders, or whatever you want to call them now. They changed their names 3 times, so I can't keep up with it. And it was a 6-man tag, and it just wasn't worth talking about, to be honest with you. You want to talk about it, Ref? I really didn't care for it.
Yeah, me either.
So, folks, you didn't miss nothing. But anyway, we get to the main event. It's the tag match, and Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed just completely dominated this match. Of course, Uso's injured. Jay is already. He's been wrapped up. And they go after Tsunami a couple more times. They knock out LA Knight. And then out of the back comes Jimmy Uso. So I guess Jimmy is now on Raw. to save his brother, or Jay's going to SmackDown. I don't know how they're going to work it. But either way, Jimmy Uso comes out, and all you hear is Big Big Daddy Jim, I guess from where Naomi called him that, is now the new moniker for him. They don't call him Jimmy Uso, it's Big Daddy Jim. And it goes off the air with him with a chair telling Reed and Bronson to go back to the back.
Yeah, again, nothing for me.
So, folks, this basically is the last PLE on NBC.
Yeah, so what's fixing to bring up? My understanding, the NXT PLEs are staying on Peacock, but the WWE ones are going to ESPN. But now it's kind of like back in the day with pay-per-views. The only difference was, back in the day with pay-per-views, you spent $45, $50, and that was all you saw. Whereas with this, if you're a sports fan and you buy this, you're paying $30 for wrestling, but you're also going to be able to see football and baseball and basketball. So you're not just paying $30 a month just for wrestling, unless you only want to watch wrestling. But it is pretty much a full-time channel, so it's not just going to be, wrestling on the channel. But it's pretty much the same thing as buying a pay-per-view.
Yep. So, folks, that's basically all we want to talk about. I mean, AEW had some great matches this past week, both on Dynamite and Collision.
I did want to ask you one thing about AEW, Jay. I'm glad you brought it up because they say that Will Ospreay is going to be out for a long time. And they say that
a year and a half at the least.
Yeah, so Will Ospreay's out until at least 2027. And Swerve Strickland's going to be out probably at least 6 months. And now they say Jericho's leaving the company. I guess we'll find out whether or not that comes true, which I think Jericho's done myself, but they say Jericho's leaving. So my question is, with all these guys either leaving or being out, who's going to be in the main event picture now? Who can take their spot?
Well, pretty much there's a lot of different things going around. The main one that I'm hearing is, as you've already been kind of hearing, the reason why they took the titles off of the Hurt Business is Bobby Lashley is rumored to be the one that's going to start going after the world title. And he's going to get into that picture. Of course, MJF's already in that picture. Also be looking for some new superstars to be joining. But one thing that I'm hearing, which I would love to see this because I think this guy is so underrated, Brian Cage. They've got him and Taka. Oh man, I can't remember his name. You know who I'm talking about. He was in the Don Callis family. He's the one that Takeshita. Yeah, Takeshita and Brian Cage would be leaving that group because that group is so huge. They need to get down some. They don't need to have an NWO.
I think Brian Cage and Lance Archer and Wardlow could all three be main event guys, but that's three guys that they just don't use.
Yeah, well, I'm hearing that Cage would be joining the Hurt Business and joining Shelton Benjamin, basically taking Lashley's place in the Hurt Business, which that would make good sense because it'd give it that same big guy that knows how to do some pretty big and bad moves, and I think that would be great. I've heard Braun Strowman's name. Of course, he would not be coming in as Braun Strowman. I've heard Samoa Joe leaving them losing the triple threat and him going, because Samoa Joe is so popular no matter where he goes. It makes sense to put him in there somewhere. But I'm hearing it's Bobby Lashley more than anybody. That would be...
I would love to see it because, Lashley's 48, but Lashley still looks phenomenal. But it would be just like in WWE. If they split them up, if they left Shelton by himself, then Shelton would disappear. He never gets used by himself. He should because the guy can wrestle. But anytime Shelton solo, you never see him. And if they split up Bobby and Shelton and left Shelton by himself, you'd never see him.
Well, folks, this is just rumors that I've heard from people. I've got several friends that are in AEW. Shelton and Cage would get together, and they would go basically after the Ring of Honor tag team titles. Or if they do not put Cage with Shelton, then Shelton would go after the Ring of Honor TV title, which is held right now by Nick Wayne.
Yeah, I've always liked Shelton Benjamin, but Shelton was always just like Christian Cage. If he's not with somebody and he's solo, you just don't see him.
Yeah, and he was a former U.S. champion. He did really well back when Kurt Angle and him was together. So, and Charlie Haas. So, but anyway, I think AEW is definitely the better pay-per-views right now is AEW, the better TV. Again, which we haven't said this a lot, is AEW right now. I think WWE is just missing something, and I know they got some stars injured. I know they've got some crazy storylines. I think there's just a lot of unsureness around what the WWE is doing right now.
Yeah, a lot of people, of course, you don't know what's true and what's not, but a lot of people think that Dana White is kind of trying to dip his toes in the booking. That's what's happening. I hope not, because Dana White don't know how to run no wrestling company. But when Triple H first took over, it was doing so good. And then the build-up to WrestleMania was so good. And then WrestleMania happened, and it's like ever since then, they've just been stuck in the doldrums. I don't know what happened. It's like they don't know what they're doing. And I know that Triple H didn't come in as a genius, and all of a sudden now he's an idiot. But, you know, the first couple of years it looked so good, and now all of a sudden it's missing something. I don't know. You know, I used to always talk about AEW, you know, having great wrestling, but, you know, dumb storylines. Well, now it's moved over to WWE. Now they've got phenomenal wrestlers, but it's missing something. Right now, it just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And the ladies division, they've got some of the best stars in the WWE, but yet they're in lost in motion, which AEW's ladies division is also kind of lost in motion. So I'm not going to try to say, but AEW is catching them very fast as far as the ladies division. But the men's division it's like night and day, and it's weird to say that. I mean, folks, yeah, I'm an AEW homer. I'm not going to lie about that. But I've always respected the WWE and what they were doing, because, I mean, the numbers don't lie. But then again, they're also been around forever, and people are used to Monday nights at a certain time and everything. But AEW's numbers are growing fast. For I understand, their max numbers are really good. I mean, Tony Khan has already said at the next quarter meeting that people are going to be astonished at the numbers that AEW is going to be giving. So that right there in itself is enough to tell you. I mean, we're not even to it, and he's already bragging about it.
Yeah, you know, WWE they're always going to win the TV ratings because they've been around forever. And, you know, they're going to have their diehard fans that are going to watch no matter what they do. And, you know, you're not going to change that. You're not going to make them not watch. But as an outsider, just the guy who enjoys wrestling, you know, I know when it makes sense and when it don't. And AEW for the longest time had great wrestling, but nothing they did made sense. Well, now they've done better, and now WWE's got great wrestling, but nothing makes sense. So I don't know exactly what happened. I don't know why Triple H would all of a sudden become a dumb booker, but I don't know why he would let somebody else all of a sudden start giving ideas. But ever since they had this merger with UFC, they've just kind of been stuck in the doldrums. And NXT's still doing great. Shawn Michaels is doing phenomenal things there, but it's NXT. You know, so not many folks are going to know how good they're doing because it's NXT. And it don't matter who's on their roster, their weekly shows and PLEs are amazing.
Yeah.
But WWE, the Raw, and the SmackDown, and the Saturday Night Main Event, and the PLEs they've been like B- shows ever since WrestleMania, and I don't know why.
Yep. All right, Ref. Well, we have been brought to you by Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina. Can't get any better than them double dip wings. And on Wednesdays, folks, $10.99 get you wings, fries, and a drink. Make sure you go by see Donnie and Paul. They will take care of you. And they also got the world's famous burgers, Paladin Burger, the Carolina Caviar, which is pimento cheese, and other great items. And then, of course, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina. Go by and see Angie, the queen of cooking. That's right, Meat and Threes. And then she also does the burgers there, so go by and see them. Well, Ref, tell us where they can find you and where you'll be this weekend.
This weekend, I'm hoping to be in Kings Mountain doing a show for Wrestling for Christ. But if turns out I don't get to go there, then I'm taking this weekend off as well, because the rest of September, I'm booked up, and it's looking like October, I'll have about 7 or 8 shows in October. So if I take the weekend off, I will, but I'm hoping to be in Kings Mountain, North Carolina, which is barely across the line, doing a show for Wrestling for Christ. They wrestle at the National Guard Armory at least twice a month there for Wrestling for Christ. Hopefully I'll be there on Saturday, and I want to go ahead and start promoting now that I'll be back again with UCW, which I had a show with them 2 weeks ago in Griffin, Georgia. I'm doing another show for them coming up in Anderson on October the 4th, which is the first Saturday in October, and it's looking like we're going to have the Barbarian and his old tag team partner, the Warlord, Powers of Pain. We're going to have Demolition, Carlito, Brian Idol, Rodney Mack, Jazz, Marty Skrull. Maybe that's all the big name people going to be there. It's going to be a big show coming up October the 4th at Westside High School.
Well, there you heard it, folks. And also you can catch Ref Brandon at Ref Brandon and the Todd family on YouTube each and every day. Make sure you go by, leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you give him that big, giant thumbs up mark. He loves to hear that. And also he takes requests for his top 10, which he does on Wednesday. So make sure you do that. And Ref, we need the most important news. Is the boss going to be at any of these shows?
She'll be at SWA, not this Saturday, but when they run their usual second Saturday show next week. And then for UCW at Anderson, she'll be there as well. I'm not quite sure yet what she'll be doing, because the last show she was just the runner. So I don't know if she'll be the runner again this time or not. But, even if she's the runner, you see her before every match. But she'll be there. So if you come by, you'll get to see her. But I can't quite tell you what she's going to do, because I don't know.
Well, folks, that right in itself is worth the price of admission. The boss is going to be live and in color each and every show. Where Ref Brandon's going to be, we know where the boss is going to be. So anyway, folks, we just want to thank you for joining us this week, and have a safe and wonderful Labor Day. And also, we want to thank our sponsors once again. Thank you, Pepsi Cola. Thank you, all of our sponsors, Greenville Sports Media. And this has been Rasslin and Racin, brought to you by Ardensburg Grill in Central South Carolina, Beef and Rib in Westminster, South Carolina, Pepsi Cola, and Greenville Sports Media. Thank you.